Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to TCG University. We're doing a live stream on this one. It will also just be posted as a VOD later on the YouTube, obviously. It's me, Noah, here with
James.
And we're doing this over Discord because
If you guys are here with us right now, go ahead and let us know how our mics sound.
yeah, that.
Noah didn't want to come over. He didn't want to be a cool friend and hang out.
Oh yeah, sure. That's definitely what happened.
Yeah.
That guy. So we're just gonna go through
I have no
our
friends.
first impressions of Opus 18, Resurgence of Power. I guess we're gonna start with Fire on card number 1. You ready, James?
Yep.
I can't pronounce this. Can you pronounce this? Achuka?
I think it's a Chuka.
Achuka. All right.
Then
Achuka.
Aqua.
5 CP backup. Fire. When Achuka enters the field, choose a forward deal at 8k damage, and then Dole, choose a forward deal at 1k damage. Damage 3. If it deals damage to a forward, the damage is increased by 1k.
Yeah.
If you had let's give it a rate system to 5, right? What would you say the utility of this card?
Utility?
Like,
5 cost is a little high, and I don't think people are going to play it, so probably a 2.
I feel like Tifa's still better to play for the one-shot 9k and the ability to make it a forward if need be.
Yep, I think it's really cool if you could play with like Ifrit, and I think Ifrit says it might say forward, or like Jin. I think Jin says forward too. Like something along those lines. I think it'd be really cool.
Forward. Okay, moving along.
Yep.
False Stalwart. It's a mannequin because they added a lot of mannequins in this. Brave, 2 CP 5k Fire. Brave. Dole 1 active job mannequin. False Stalwart gains 2k power until the end of turn.
This card's cool. I don't know.
Actually, I don't think it's terrible. It depends on the way you play it.
It can give you a pretty big, nice wall card.
Yeah. I think what you could do is you have, after you play, which one is it? The ice mannequin that like essentially Veritos's. After you play that, it's kind of just like useless. You can use it to block if need be, but you can essentially chump block with dudes, and then for that turn, dull them in the same process to give this guy more power.
Yeah. He makes sure that he's gonna block something really well.
Yeah, like he can get through. I think he's cool. He's cheap. I don't know if you're gonna play him at like the full 3, maybe a 2 of.
Yeah, but I mean, mannequins need more mannequins, so.
They do. Like the set gives them a good chunk of it. Moving on.
We looked at this beforehand because like he sent me this while I was on my lunch at work.
Yeah. So this is
this card. Oh my god.
This is part of a set of cards that are like this. There's one for each.
I didn't read them off. Fuck, I can't wait to read them now.
Yeah, so Machinist stays a 1 CP backup. Standard unit says pay a fire, discard Machinist, draw a card. You can only use this ability if Machinist is in your hand. So essentially,
pay 1, discard, draw.
Yeah,
draw
it's
discard
a cycle.
Yeah.
If you just need filler so you can cycle through your deck faster, this doesn't.
This card's nuts.
You know
this card's like a 4 to me.
You know what you could do, if you wanted to play like your main pieces and then a bunch of filler, is you could play Sid 2, because Sid 2 searches for 1 CP backups.
Oh, that's cool.
And this is a 1 CP backup.
This card's not a backup to me. This card is not a backup.
It's whatever you want it to be. We've seen, is it Cleome?
Dude, I have no idea. I'm
gonna butcher names. I apologize, guys.
You mean the next card?
What?
The next card. Are we talking about the next card?
Yeah.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay.
The 2 CP 5K. Yeah, I'll let you know when I'm moving. My bad. Job Symphonian Musician. At the end of each of your turns, place 2 melody counters on her, remove a melody counter from her, choose a forward deal at 10k, remove a melody counter from her, choose a forward and gains 1k. I think it's really nuts that she gets 2 at the end of each turn.
Yeah.
And in 2 turns, you have 4 counters, and you have either 4k worth of damage or 4k worth of power. Like
I think she's gonna be really good, and I think she's gonna be really good in like the samurai deck. Because it means at any point, if you need just a couple extra hits of damage, she's there for you and she's cheap.
Or if you need to keep something alive.
Yep.
Because they hit that 9k sweet spot on 10s and you're like, oh, he's a 10k.
If they think they're gonna get him, Cleome just says no.
Yup.
And I think you could easily fit her into like a 1 to 2 of, because samurais don't need it, but having the ability, if your matchup says you do need it, to have her in the deck is really nice.
I think, man, I don't know. I don't see Brynhilde getting played a lot. Ixion might be
Not
played
right now.
a bit more. There's a lot of 2 drops. that are.
There's a lot of really
solid.
good 2-drops too.
So Brynhilder might come back. Currently, without Brynhilder being as prevalent as he used to be, this card definitely is something that you can just sneak through and probably coast on for almost majority of the game.
She's not super scary, but in conjunction with other things, she can be really scary.
Yup. I'm gonna move on.
Okay.
Salamander. This is part of the new summon lineup where you can pay the extra cost of removing forward. So if you cast Salamander,
I think this card's nuts.
remove 10 fire cards in your break zone from the game as an extra cost. It's cool that it says fire cards. Deal 5k damage to all the forwards the opponent controls. If you paid the extra cost, deal 7k damage to all the forwards the opponent controls. Which, if you're playing a fire deck, honestly, I don't see this as a bad trade-off.
No.
You could theoretically play this in an Ifrita deck if people wanted to play Ifrita decks, like Ifrita decks again. So like after all your Ifritas are used up, you just play this and you get the same board wipe effect.
Here's the thing. This card says deal 5k to everything for a 3 cost.
Which is already good, yeah.
Which is already good. Like, if you wanted to play it because you want the ability to... Like, you have a deck that pings or, like, hits... like, I'm trying to think of something good right now. Like, you say you have, just like this along with, Squall, right? Squall swings for 4. This pays the swing for 9.
Yeah.
Like, just nice and simple.
I mean, what did Fire need, right? More board wipe potential, because Samurai's doesn't do it enough.
Yep. No, it's just what Fire does, and Samurai just gets away with it the best. Yeah, it sucks.
It does. I do like this card. I think this card is probably best out of 2 of.
I think the card's really cool. I just think there are currently better Fire summons.
For sure.
But I think this will find good play in certain decks.
That's fair.
I think if we didn't already have Brynhilder, the Ifrita package, and things like the Bahamut that splits for like 12k or 10k or whatever, I think that card's nuts. Or the Bahamut for the Guardian deck is nuts. Or if we didn't have things like Phoenix, if you like to play 2-drops in like the 2-drop deck.
Yep.
I think there are already good fire ones that you already want to play. Or if not, this card would already be nuts.
Sorry, I yawned. Yeah, I'd play a set of 2 of. I think this card's super cool. I think drafting it's a really good card, honestly.
I think drafting this set looks really nuts already, and
drafting this set is gonna be really fun.
From what I've seen, and then looking at these two, because I didn't read most of this, I just looked through and saw the things I wanted to look at, you know.
Yep.
Because I that's all I worry about most of the time.
I'm gonna move through onto Zell. Let's get. Oh yeah, there's the full art and then the normal. I'm so glad they put more seed candidates in, because they put a good chunk of them in here.
Yeah.
Especially when Selfie could search them out. So Zell, 4 CP 7k with haste. When he attacks, choose a forward the opponent controls. If Zell's power has 10,000 power or more, deal 8k damage. Discard 2 cards. He gains 3k power until the end of turn. I just think the fact that he's a 7k Zell and not like, what is the other one, a 4 or 5k or something like that, like it's a lot smaller, is already just infinitely better, and he has haste off the bat, which is super cool. And if you want, I think the coolest part about him is that if you're trying to close the game out with this card, and you do have just the 2 extra cards to pitch, you can pitch those. He's a 10k, and on swing, you can shoot something before it gets to block, which is nuts.
Yeah.
I would, depending on the deck you play, so like in a mono fire deck, I probably wouldn't play this card, honestly. But if you wanted to build...
you only play Samurais, so like...
Yeah, right. If,
mono fire doesn't have a place right now.
If you want to build a category 8 deck, then I would definitely put this one probably at a 2 to 3. Maybe a 3.
There's a good amount of category 8 good stuff now, which is pretty nice. We didn't talk about Cleone being a fucking FFTCG.
They just keep giving us FFTCG cards. She doesn't have a special. Who cares, right?
Do you know how nuts it is to play this on like a I have an extra Elvis. I'll pitch Elvis. Cool. In my turn, I have 2 extra counters to be able to give my my Madam plus 2k, so it lives to something.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I was talking about this at locals. I'm gonna move on. I think Suarez is dumb. And the only reason is, personally, I think it's because of Merald. Merald should not be able to do both of her effects. I think it's just
Shijin.
No,
not Shijin. I think it's Amber.
Selphie's a backup, which isn't terrible. I'm okay with that because she's 4 CP EX burst. When she enters the field, choose a fire forward in your break zone, add it to your hand, and then Dull, put her in the break zone, choose a fire forward, and gains 3k power until the end of turn, which means she also meshes with Zell. The cool thing is, one, it's the Kingdom Hearts 1 selfie art, which is I like, and then 2, you can use her to replace the other one. So instead of searching your deck, if you already had your pieces, you can just put her on board, and then you can pick up the piece from your break zone. Which is...
Does that mean I'll get to play Sora soon?
What?
Does that mean I'll get to play Sora soon?
No.
Damn.
Sorry, he's not a Final Fantasy character.
I just want to play Goofy.
Get the fuck out of here. In a fire deck, honestly, I could see this card being an easy 2 to 3 of. Because you know what fire didn't have is fire didn't have. I mean, it has like Samurai to play a dude, but it didn't have access to a card. Like Civ Clan Goalie or Idolist that says EX Burster on play, pick up a card of your element. It says Fire Forward, which is kind of a bummer, but like Fire Forwards do enough as is. I
mean, in Samurais, who cares? But like Samurais, right. It depends on how you want to play, because like, I think right now Fire needs to find something that's not Samurais, and that's really hard to do. Because why not play Samurais? Because Samurais is just better. And honestly, you don't play this selfie if you're playing Samurais, because you play the one that searches out Squall.
Yep.
Which is the only problem is like right now Fire is just a Samurai deck. Fire, like there's a bunch of like we're looking at a bunch of cool Fire things, and it's just like Samurais is just more consistent and just better right now.
Oops. Jesus Christ! It just my computer. I swear to God. It tried to open Star Wars. Okay, continuing. Moving on.
You don't want to play Star Wars?
No, we're doing this. Two-headed dragon. 1, love the art. 4 CP monster. When a fire forward you control attacks, choose a forward the opponent controls, deal it 4k damage. Nuts. Put the top 2 cards of your deck into your break zone as the action. Until the end of turn, Two-headed dragon also becomes a forward with 9k power. You can only use this ability once per turn.
That's nuts.
For a 4 CP mon, I think this card's actually really solid. Even at a 1 of, the ability to be like...
This card's really cool with Jin and with like Ifrit.
I think this card's only good with Jin if you make it a forward, but like that's every turn you're milling 2 off the top of your deck.
Well, what I mean is like if you have things that ping, Jin's gonna get boosted to ping, and then every time they attack, you ping something for 4k.
Well, you have to make this a forward. Though is the issue. Jin's ping.
No, Jin's not gonna power this up. No, I'm not talking about Jin powering this up.
Other stuff. Okay, gotcha.
So like if you played Jin with Squall and this on board, Squall swings for 9.
Yep.
For free. No big deal.
I mean,
if you have Ifrit on the board, it swings for 10. Like it's nuts.
It's really good. If only we.
But you just fire if you're doing that type of thing though. You see play a lot of things that aren't forwards.
You see all the work you're putting in to get that 10k swing when you can just play Cyan, a Samurai, and a good chunk of Samurai backups to do the same thing. Like, moving on. Oh my God.
That is the problem.
Okay. Also Kingdom Hearts.
Tidus.
Which is super cool. Tidus. 4 CP, 8k. Has haste. He's a guardian. Sick. When he enters the field, put the top 5 cards of your deck into the break zone. When you do so, choose up to 1 forward. If all of the cards in your break zone are of fire element, deal it 8k damage. So this card, again, will only work in mono fire, unfortunately. Which sucks because I like this art and I want to play it in my.
I like the ability. I don't know what they're trying to do with the whole mill thing. That seems very dangerous.
So here's what I think you can mesh this with, and we'll because the starter decks are out, and there's the 4 CP Ravis that says remove 2 job captains from the break zone and 10k something on enter. So if you play this, like this and Ravis go hand in hand. You mill 5 cards. If you play enough captains, you're gonna mill the captains. And then you're like, oh cool, I'll play this Ravis. So I 8k'd and 10k'd something for 8 CP. Like it's not terrible, and you put 2 forwards on board. I think it's cool. I think it's a 2 of. For some to be a 3 of, it's gotta be really good for me. But
and it has haste, which is pretty neat.
Yeah, the haste, maybe a 3 of with it, just because it has haste, and it can potentially kill something on entry almost every time.
If you need more fire cards for your guardian deck, though, Noah,
It's
This thing's fire, has haste, and it's a Titus Guardian.
I have too many Tituses already. It doesn't beat Water Titus right now. The 3 CP Legend, it doesn't beat that.
Yeah, that's only because that card's actually broken.
Yeah. Next one, Berserker, which I think is just filler. Berserker, 3 CP, 8k, must attack once per turn if possible. When it enters the field, you may pay a fire. When you do so, choose a forward against. If possible, this forward must block until end of turn. Ooh, excuse me.
This gives you your cool. You wanted to build that one deck where they have to block everything.
Yeah, where you force everything to block. So Vargas.
You could do that.
Yeah, that was what, Fire Earth, because we wanted to play Galoof as well. But yeah, this it's just a pack filler card. I think you really only care about this card in draft. If somebody's able to like build an actual deck around this, hey, be my guest.
I just don't think there's anything right now that does it. Like, being a standard unit makes it really hard to like find a good spot for it.
I mean, standard units have a home. The only issue is Shadow Lord is, in my opinion, still running amok a little bit. So
there's really no good reason to play standard units.
Yeah, it feels bad. I'm gonna move through. Pain. One, I looked at this and didn't realize it was Pain because like 10-2 I haven't played in freaking forever.
I had to realize she was inside the robot.
Yeah. 6 CP, EX burst, 9k, forward. Job goal wings. When Pain enters the field, choose one forward, deal it 7k damage. If it's a multi-element forward, deal it 10k damage instead. If a damage forward opponent controls is put from the field to the break zone, remove it from the game instead, which I think that's a cool static in general.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's not just card, off this ability; it's just in general.
This card in the Arden deck that I built actually wouldn't be terrible because if I sack something, like any forward goes to break zone, this becomes a 1 cost, and then if I put any damage forward into the break zone, it gets removed, which is really good because we do a lot of damaging dudes, and then like
I like that they're targeting multi-element harder, right?
I mean, multi-elements insane.
Multi-elements have been really nuts, and being able to like it used to be. To pick up, they made it harder to pick up or do things with multi-element, but didn't give any drawback to having multi-element besides just playing it. Yeah. And this one kind of produces the idea that they know that they need to target multi-elements a little harder if they're going to do it. I like that. I don't think this card's going to see a lot of play in terms of countering multi-element, but like it's still really neat to know that they're like looking at it.
Yep. And it's category 10 card, which I could actually fully play in my 10 deck. It is costly, which is like my big issue, but the EX burst is cool. It's a 7k shot.
Yeah. 10k if they have a multi-element on board.
Yeah. Like, I'd say, honestly, I don't know where this card would fit in anything yet, so I don't know.
Not right now.
I'm gonna move
unless there's some weird Gold Wings deck we don't know of.
Yeah, but like the Gold Wings is always gonna be like water, wind, majority of the time. All right, moving on to Ferris.
Guardian's colors.
We've seen this card before. Ferris is a 3 CP 7k. When Ferris enters the field, deal 1k damage to all forwards. When Ferris or Job Warrior Light forward you control is dealt damage, choose up to 1 forward the opponent controls, deal 3k damage. Damage 3. When Ferris enters the field, you can search for a Job Warrior Light other than a card named Ferris added to your hand. So, what was the cool thing with this again? Was it on enter, it deals 1k to all forwards, and it says when Ferris or a Job Warrior Light forward you control is dealt damage, and it doesn't say it doesn't say what's the wording with Cecil when it says like 1 or more are targeted, pay the 2. It says when Ferris or a Job, so when all of your dudes are dealt damage, you get multiple instances of 3k pings as well.
Maybe?
Right? That's what I would assume. That's what I would assume.
Podcast.
Because it just says when Ferris or Job Warrior Light forward you control is dealt damage, choose up to 1 forward the opponent controls, deal at 3k. So because everything on your board was dealt damage as well as theirs, all of your dudes that were touched result, as long as they're Warrior of Light, and result in another 3k shot going in. But I think this card's sturdy as hell. For Warriors of Light, you generally want to play the Water Fire Ferris, but I think if you do a 2-1 split and you play this one as well, I think you're fine.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. I was like, where did you go?
I was looking at cards.
Oh, you don't go ahead.
I'm counting something for later.
Okay. Moving on. Fang. Fang's actually really cool for category 13. 2 CP, 5k. If you control 3 or more category 13 characters being the emphasis, the category 13 forwards you control gain 2k power. Pay 0 during this turn. The cost required to cast your next category 13 forward is reduced by 2, cannot become 0. You can only use this ability during your turn and only once per turn. Fang is the category 13 equivalent of Beatrix for knights. Like, actually. Where are you at?
I'm looking at. Sorry, I'm looking at things.
You gotta.
Yeah, I'm here. I finished looking at it. We'll talk about it later. I finished counting.
Jesus.
Trust me, the number I'm going to give you is astounding.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah. What are your thoughts on Fang?
I like seeing more category decks. I like archetype decks.
I mean, archetype decks are fun, right?
Yeah.
I like Arden, but I wish Arden was more archetypal.
I like that it's a forward.
And not a backup. Yeah. She, like I said, she's just Beatrix, but for category 13.
Oh, for 13. Yeah.
And instead of every time a guy enters with that auto ability, which is like one of Beatrix's biggest weaknesses, it's just if I control 3 or more, everybody gains 2k permanently.
Yep.
Which
could be nuttier, but
in a category 13 deck, I'd put this definitely at a 3 of.
Yeah,
in a deck that
you find a way to build with this, because plus 2k is nuts and getting the free play almost.
Yeah, and in a deck that
nuts.
can play this card that plays like minimal 13, probably a 2 of. But other than that, yeah, that's where I'd leave it.
Yeah.
On to the next one, Meath. 2 CP experts backup. When Meath enters the field, you can discard a multi-element card. If you do so, search for one card other than a backup, add it to your hand. So the current Meath that we use is discard a card, search for a card of the same cost, and this one just says search for anything that's not a backup if you discard a multi. And it's an expert. It's actually, yeah.
Seems unfair.
Could you imagine if she searched for a backup? Gross.
I wish she did.
This card, honestly, in any deck you play it in, I could see you playing it at a 3 of just because it's an EX.
As long as you're playing multi-element, there's no reason you don't.
Yeah. Otherwise, you can probably just play it at 2 of if you're playing multi-element and you just like don't need all like you have space that you need to break down. This card's still.
I think if you're not going to be playing multi-element, like if you're only playing like a couple multi-elements, like if you're playing an entire deck where you play like just like a Sophie, I don't think like a Sophie or like a Sarah Mobius. I just don't think there's a reason. Like if you're playing like Ishtola, Gudon, and you're playing all these different multi-element stuff, I think you could really go with some. Or like, I guess you can't do it because it's fire. But
it's multi-element, right? So you're obviously playing multiple elements in the deck. It'd be like a
the one I was thinking about a lot of was playing Ice Wind Storm.
Oh yeah. No.
Obviously, you can't play this in Ice Wind Storm.
You just do Fire Wind Storm.
No, you could, yeah.
I think there's more. I actually have to double check. I don't remember if there were any new Fire
Wind
cards.
I was just thinking like Hope, Balthier, and Locke were like the main ones on my head like immediately. So like, those were like the immediate ones I thought about.
Moving past Meath, we have Ramza. This card's nuts. Warp 2, paying a fire in any element.
Wait, what does Warp do?
Do you not remember?
No.
Oh, so warp states when you pay the warp cost, and that card goes essentially to the warp zone. I believe it's a separate zone, or it's like removed for that amount of turns. And then once the counters go down to 0, like you put 2 counters on it. Once the counters go down to 0 at the start of every main phase 1, the card comes into play. So for instance, instead of paying 7 for Ramza, you pay 2. Like if it's turn 1 and you open with it, you just pitch a card, remove the Ramza, put 2 counters on it, and then in 2 turns, I guess Ramza would come in. 2 turns from then, Ramza comes in.
It's not on the what? No, that has to be an onboard ability. That can't be from hand. That can't be from hand.
Warp is from hand.
That can't be from hand.
Warp is definitely from hand.
Don't feed me that bullshit.
It is. Warp is not an onboard ability. When Ramza enters the field, choose one job knight of cost 5 or less in your break zone, play it onto the field. Meaning if you fucking pitch the knight for Ramza, when he comes in, you get a free knight. And then dull 4 active job knights, backups or forwards, nuts. Choose the forward the opponent controls, break it. Ramza deals your opponent a point of damage. What the fuck? You literally can play an ice fire knight where you just stall them out and keep their hand low and use this Ramza to keep touching them. which I think is hilarious. James.
So I'm reading Warp, and I don't think you're right.
Okay. Here, hold on. Let me. We'll find it in here because they explain it when they did Theodore. Theodore.
That's what I'm looking at right now. Is the Final Fantasy the Crystarium Warp.
Warp is usable when the character is in your hand. Done. Easy.
Where are you looking?
Huh?
Where are you looking?
On Square Enix's site. Warp is usable when the character is in your hand. Instead of a normal cast, you pay the cost written after the warp keyword. So, in the case of Theodore, 2 ICP. If you do so, the character is removed from the game within.
I'm asking, where are you looking? I didn't find
Theodore's card of the week.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, same number of warp counters as the number written alongside warp. He'll be removed from the game with 2 warp counters on him. Then these counters are removed one by one at the beginning of your first main phase. When the last counter is removed, the character enters the field. Telling me I don't know how warp works. Get out of here. Alright, while you're reading that, I'm gonna move on to the.
Yeah, you're fine. Because like the Crystarium explains it differently.
Lulu, 2 CP, backup, Guardian, dull her, discard a card. Or you're playing against a multi-element deck, my bad. Or you're still going through that.
Yeah.
Rain! I love this card because I like knights. 5 CP, 9k, King Knight, FFB, obviously. If you don't control any forwards, the cost required to cast Rain is reduced by 2. Nuts. Damage 3, Rain gains 1k power, and when he attacks, choose a forward to deal it 5k damage. All in all, like, I just like this card. It's a beefy knight.
I just like this card.
I do. It's a beefy knight, which is important. It also deals damage. It also gains power, so it's like a 5-drop 10k. Like, your opponent doesn't really... They're forced to deal with this before anything else, but if you're going to play with Ice, you're going to put Charlotte on board because she's a knight, so they never get to deal with this card, and he has a continuous 5k ping. So if you play Brunhilde in the deck, you're almost guaranteed to kill something and get a card back because of it. I think this card's insane. If you played a Knights, you definitely played it at a 2 to 3 up, depending on the spaces you need. Otherwise, if you're playing it in, like, even just a fire deck, it's fine.
It's a good thing you're not... Where is the sound coming from? It's a very good thing you weren't able to hear my computer. And for some reason, the Final Fantasy page started playing music.
Oh, that's funny.
I was very confused. I have like 6 tabs open on 2 different things. So
FFCC, 2CP, Ice, because we're on Ice now. Make a note of that one.
We're on Ice. What do you mean make a note of that? How do you want me to make a note of that?
I'm making timestamps for stuff.
Oh, are you making a note, or do you want me to make the note?
I got the note. Don't worry.
Okay.
So.
I'll handle them.
Yeah, go ahead, James.
Put him into the break zone. During this turn, if your character enters the field by your opponent's summons or abilities, remove it from the game instead. This card literally says, "Fuck out of here." So fucking dumb. Card's nuts as shit.
Yeah.
And Ice honestly kind of needed like an anti-card, and I kind of like it.
I mean, they gave us Edward, which helped with the break zone stuff.
Yep.
And then they gave us, like, some of the things Ice needed was a big beater, and like, what is it? The 2CP what's the name? Lugua. I can't remember the name off the top of my head. I think it's category 5. That removes itself to give something brave and power is super sick. You get what's it? The Artemisian, which like removes haste and first strike and brave or whatever, which is super good. You get this card to stop them from free playing dudes. So like Cecil, when Cecil plays something, you tell them no, which is super sick. And then you have Edward for Breakzone, which I mentioned earlier. Like Ice is starting to get its tech pieces, which is super cool in my opinion. It keeps it more viable, for sure. The only issue is like the removal of the tech pieces means that you're losing backups in the process.
Yeah.
otherwise, I think this card definitely in any ice deck you should play this at minimum a 1 of, at best a 2 of. I would never put this at a 3 of.
Man, it depends on what's current meta. Like this during the age of like Sky Pirates, I think you play this at a 3 of.
Wait till we get further in. There's gonna be some real cool category 13 cards, my guy. Moving along, we have Weiss, which this makes me happy because it's just a new Weiss for 1, and it's using the Intergrade art as well. 4 CP, 8k. When your opponent discards 1 or more cards due to your summons or abilities, choose a character, duel, and freeze it. So it has the same ability as Biblos, which is super sick. And then damage 5, Weiss gains 1k power and can't be chosen by your opponent's summons or abilities. Gross.
Yep.
This card is just like another big threat for an ice deck, especially a discard deck, because
100%.
One of the issues that there's always been, in my opinion, is that when it comes to ice, you either dull freeze or you discard. You can't really do both well, and this in Biblos just fixes the issue. You play discard, you get your dull freezes like it's nothing.
Yeah.
Hello.
I think this card's nuts. I'm definitely gonna be playing it.
Why did I? Can we not? Thank you. Boop. Next one. Quistis. I hope I said that right. I don't play 8. When Quistis enters the field, choose a forward until the end of turn. It gains 2k power, and when it attacks, your opponent randomly discards 1. The random discard is the best aspect of this. I will stand by random discard in like any card game now at this point. I've realized how deadly random discard can be.
Yeah,
the only issue with random discard currently is that there's so many ways to like mess with your break zone that you have to be able to like immediately have an answer for anything like that. But yeah, this card's really good just because of that reason, that it gives something the ability to randomly discard, and it buffs it up, meaning like that card probably won't die on a block or anything.
You know what the nutty? I'm sorry, I'm doing both of this. I'm listening to you because I think these cards are nuts. I'm also reading the warp thing. Do you know that just playing the warp ability does not create a stack?
Yup.
That is fucking degenerate.
Yup. Moving right along. Another Kukaspel, 2 CP EX Burst, 5k. EX Burst, when Kukaspel enters the field, each player selects 1 card from the break zone, adds it to their hand, then each player discards a card. So you get a card you want, but you lose a card in the process.
This card's nuts.
I think it's really good for that effect because like it's got the bonuses of what Selfie would do, right? Which is both players pick up a forward, but it also goes, hey, in the like I'm playing around this, you're not.
This card's nuts, and like you've played against my current ice deck. This card's nuts in my ice deck. I'll pick up whatever I want, and you pick up whatever you want, and then discard a card. Did you discard? I'll dull freeze this thing.
Yep.
And I'll just make you discard your card anyways.
Yup.
The fuck out of here.
It's a really good card.
It's really
Black
cool,
Mage.
but like, man, it's so.
It's not Job Black Mage, it's Job Standard Unit. God, they hate me. Pay an ice, discard Job Black Mage, or sorry, pay an ice, discard Black Mage, draw a card. You can only use this ability if Black Mage is in your hand. Pretty standard.
All of them just pay, discard thing, draw a card.
Yep.
That's lame. I hate it. I'm not actually as cool anymore.
Discard to draw. So next one, 3 CP Krista. When Krista enters the field, your opponent randomly discards a card. Nuts.
Cool.
Pay 0 until the end of turn. Krista becomes a forward with 8k power. You can only use this ability if your opponent has 2 or less cards in their hand. And only
Really cool in a discard deck.
I think this card's actually really good. Yeah, in a discard deck, it's a 3-drop 8k on a monster. When usually like 3-drop monsters are like 7ks or
like Biblos.
Well, Biblos is 2
much better, but
I think this with Biblos is nuts. Did they discard? Don't freeze it, dude. And then if they have 2 or less,
7k and 8k, yeah.
It's insane. It's so good. Hey, James.
Yep.
Here you go.
Yay! You also said here you go. I can't see your screen, so I understood that you shifted.
Yeah, it's
I understood that you shifted to the next card. So Shiva, 1-drop. It's a one-off. Doesn't matter. I guess it matters for.
It doesn't even matter for a WAF
title. It matters
title.
For title.
It matters, yeah.
Summon. If you cast Shiva, you can remove 10 cards from your 10 ice cards from your break zone from the game as an extra cost. Choose 1 forward, dull and freeze it, and if you paid the extra cost, break it instead. I don't give a fuck about removing 10 cards. This card is on 1 cost that says dull and freeze it, dude. With Terra, it says dull and freeze up to 3 dudes.
Don't you like how the art is just an inverted pop leaves?
That's also very funny. It is also very funny. I really like this card. Definitely already auto added it at 3 of.
Yeah, pay 1 for Adult Freeze is fine.
Yeah, pay 1 for Adult Freeze is nuts. And then like late in the game, if you need to get rid of things, this also gets rid of things, which is crazy good as well.
Yup. Moving on to the next one, Chime. 2 CP backup. Choose a forward until the end of turn. It gains 1k power and first strike. You can only use this ability if your opponent has 1 or less cards in their hand. Honestly, if you're playing a discard deck with ice, this is actually really good because like the ice needs first strike cards. But
I don't think ice needs first strike. Ice needs like good removal.
I would never.
I think the hardest part for ice is removal.
In my opinion, I would never play this over the Chime the 4 CP water ice Chime that says Doladude and Bounce a Dude. I think it's just way better.
Depending on the deck you're playing, yeah. The other Chime is much better.
AK body, but yeah.
I just think there's no I don't think there's a reason to have first strike in an ice deck. You don't need first strike because all your dudes are all their dudes are tapped anyway, so who fucking gives a shit?
If you're playing.
And ice doesn't. Yeah, ice doesn't need anything to like beat. It doesn't. Ice isn't trying to beat anything down, right? Like you were saying earlier, ice is trying to freeze or discard. But the problem is sometimes you don't get over things, and first strike in 1,000 power is not going to help. You just need to be able to get things off the board. Ice needs a consistent, good like board clear.
Yeah, that's fair. Moving on. Here we go.
Theodore.
Go ahead, James.
He's a 9-drop Dark Knight Black Mage, 11 card, Warp 2, which is a fucking nutty ass cost for a 9-drop. If your opponent has 2 or less cards, Theodore becomes a 9k haste with first strike. When Theodore enters the field, your opponent discards 2 cards. When Theodore enters the field due to warp, your opponent discards 1 card.
So if you warp him and he comes in,
he only discards. He discards 3.
He discards 3. You can Amma these cards too.
Yes, you can Amma their enter. You can't do anything on activate. You can't do anything on warp, and I don't believe you can do anything on the triggers of the secondary warp condition of just counter down. I figured out the thing I hate about these so far.
The counter's an auto, so yeah, you can.
You can? Solid.
Yeah,
I
your
figured out
best
the thing I
bet
hate the most
is to wait till the counter's gone and then Amma when the counter leaves.
Because he can't, yeah. Because it doesn't enter. It stops it from entering. I figured out the part of these that I hate. I think it should have been if Theodore enters the field, your opponent discards a card. And then in the same text, but if it entered due to warp, your opponent discards 1. I think there should have been a downside to using warp, because warp just made it a 7 cost, made it a 2 cost comparatively to a 9. That's a 7 cost difference. So instead of paying 9 to discard 2 cards, I paid 2 to discard 3.
Yeah.
I think it should have. There should have been a downside, like how the couple of the original like multicolors, what is the cat one? The one that's like if you've dealt so much damage, it gets weaker. I can't remember. Yeah.
Kunshira doesn't say if you dealt damage. Kunshira says if you have 4 or more backups.
Oh yeah. So if you advance far enough in the game, that card gets weaker.
Yeah.
I think they should have like kind of like pigeonholed the warp like that, because this card says pay 2 to discard 3. Why would you ever want to pay 9 to discard 2?
Yep. And you just have to wait 2 turns.
Yeah.
In an ice deck, it isn't that hard.
Like it 100% should have had like the cost. It should have just been if you use warp, discard 1, and I have a 9. I paid 2 costs to discard 1, and I have a cool dude that's a 9k hates with first strike. That's perfectly good. And then if I play it as a 9-drop, I get to discard 2 and I have that ability. I'm still down, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
Because like Sephiroth is a 7k.
That makes both
7-drop.
discard. Or no,
it makes your opponent discard 2.
Yeah.
Right, and that's like that's its ability. And then the 5-drop makes you discard both players discard 2, and I believe it has first strike.
I think.
So like there's a cost. There's no cost to this fucking card. The cost is wait 2 turns, and that's nothing, especially early game when you can just like pitch something and pitch it, basically, to then in 2 turns get to pitch 3 cards out of your opponent's hand and have a dude with haste 3k first strike.
Yeah.
Like that's ridiculous. That's the draw I think I'm gonna see on most of these warp cards. Is I guess I'm gonna go back real quick while you talk about it, but like I'm gonna go back and look at the ROMs real quick just to make sure.
To the next one. Nooch, 5CK
No,
or
ROM
5CP
didn't have anything.
backup. When he enters the field, choose a dull forward, break it, your opponent discards a card. It's not terrible. I think it's pretty solid because you kill a dull forward and you also don't discard.
Especially as a 5 cost.
Yeah, like it's fine. It's probably something you play as like your third or final backup.
It's nice and fair. I think it's like a 1-of. I don't think you play it as a 2-of. It's not the next verse. It's one of those things that's just like, this is gonna put my opponent back just enough to kind of even the game type of thing, right? Yep. Where they have their cool boss out and you're like, I'm gonna get rid of your boss monster.
Moving on to the next one, we have Nero, 4CP Expert's backup, Tvet's Svet. When Nero enters the field, you may search for a card named Weiss and add it to your hand. Nuts, and then when a card named Weiss enters your field, your opponent discards a card. Meaning if they kill a Weiss and you play another Weiss, I mean, they're still discarding, which is cool. I think that lingering effect is really nice.
I actually really like this card too.
The ability to search for Weiss, any of the Weisses, is insane.
You only play the one, who cares?
The other one's good too because it plays a dude on play.
Yeah, but like it's a 6-drop. It's a 6-drop and you don't get to warp it.
Give me 1 sec. I actually want to double check that real quick. 6 forward. Ooh. So when Weiss enters the field, you can play an ice forward. It costs 3 or less from your hand onto the field. When he attacks, he gains 2k power. Okay, that's all he does.
Yeah, he's not very great. He's not that great.
He's fine.
He's fine, but like, there's no reason not to play the other Weiss.
Yeah, the other one is definitely a lot better because it's discard 2. You discard 1, and I think that Weiss discards randomly.
And here's the thing: why would you pay 6 to play? You have to also play a 3-drop or less, right?
Yeah. On
top of that, so you have to have 3 drops or less to play, and you have to play your 6 drop. It just seems like a lot.
The 4
drops. That's your entire handful of cards.
Moving on to Hein. 5CP 8k, he can't be broken. Specifically
by summons or
abilities that don't deal damage. And then when he enters the field, choose up to 4 characters and freeze them. Man, if this one's in the EX burst, he'd be great. I think this is a good 1 or 2 of in an ice deck. In any deck that plays ice, it's a good 1 of. But
at any point, you can just freeze 4 characters and kind of like take control of the game.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine being able to pay 8 CP total and playing Celeste in this card and freezing 6 characters and just owning the next turn? And then on the next turn, if you wanted to, you could pay 6 and play what is it? The 6 CP backup that gives them like 4 choices, and one of them is like freeze all their characters again.
Yeah.
Or like skip their active phase.
It's not. Is it Babas? Babas? I think it's Babas.
Babas, yeah, Babas.
I think it's Babas.
It'd be hilarious. Moving on, there's a new Physalis, who's a knight. Let's go. Physalis 2CP, 5k FFBE. If you have 1 or less cards in your hand, Physalis gains 3k power, which is kind of not terrible, actually. And then discard a card, which is a action, by the way. Remove the top 2 cards of your deck from the game. You can cast them at any time you can normally cast them this turn. You can only use this ability during your turn and only once per turn.
Disgusting.
She says
oh my god.
She says pitch 1 to have the ability to cast the next 2 cards for the turn.
Use the danger own deck.
Yeah, or
and that's nuts.
And if you really wanted to, if you're like looking for just a way to speed up more X death shenanigans, and you play like Ice Lightning, this card just does it for you too. Like, woo!
Fuck.
I think this card's cool. And in a Knight's deck, it's gonna be pretty cool too.
This card's it's a Knight, yeah. This card's absolutely bonkers. It's a danger on deck. Like, if you're playing 2 colors, not only does it give you the option to say you hit something you don't have on board, it means if your opponent decides to take care of something, like if you hit like say you hit I was gonna name what's the wind card? We were talking about this earlier. 5-drop. Why can I not think of Cecil? Like you Cecil as well as in my head. So you have a Cecil on board, but you hit a Cecil off this Physalis playing like some Ice Wind shenanigans, right?
Yeah.
It means if they ever hit that Cecil, you're just going to play another one.
Yep.
Which means they have to decide whether or not they want to still hit the Cecil, so you can free play another dude and just be in the same spot.
I want to emphasize the downside on Physalis is you can only cast them that turn.
Oh, thank God. Okay, never mind. Oh my God.
If it was,
nuts.
It's still good because if they do that and you're like on stack, I'll discard and you hit 2 cards that like you can play nuts, but.
So like I play a Shiva deck, right? So like if I hit Shivas off that, like thanks. I'll play this 1-drop Shiva that does increase speed. Swing this one for a game, I guess. Yep. Like there's a lot you can do with this. It's just once only your turn on the 1 turn. Nuts. I'm down.
Rune Fencer, 4 CP 8K. When Rune Fencer enters the field or attacks, you may pay an ice. When you do so, choose a forward, dull it, and freeze it. It's fine. It's got the same thing as like last set's Black Mage and Red Mage, or Red Mage and Samurai, and things like that, where like they have an extra cost coming in to do a cool effect. I like the 3 CP ones more. I guess you're paying 5 either way, honestly.
You're paying 5 to be able to dull freeze something. It's okay. Like it's not great.
I'm gonna move past. We have Phantasmal Girl. It's a job mannequin, 2 CP 5K. When 1 or more job mannequin forwards you control are chosen by your opponent, summons or abilities, you may pay 2, and when you do, cancel their effects. This card's insane for mannequins.
Mannequins are getting so nutty.
You're like, did you try to touch my dudes? I'll just say no.
No touchy, please.
Yuna enters the field. Your opponent selects 1 forward.
God, cover your screens.
What?
Cover your screens.
You just not like this art, don't you?
I hate this art so much.
Yeah, your opponent selects a forward they control, dull freeze all the others, and then Great Whirlwind, special, pay 4 to ice, choose a forward, deal 8k damage, you can dull an active unit to do it again. She's fine. I don't like, she's a rare, so like I'm glad it's not like a legend slot wasted on her. She's okay, but I'd play other
I hate that I think about playing her in my ice deck because she says freeze all of my opponent's dudes.
All but 1. There is a new Laswell, 2 CP 5k, next card. I will never play this over the other Laswell, but when Laswell enters the field, if your opponent controls 4 or more dull characters, draw 1 card. So in an ice deck, it's cool. Damage 3, he gains 2k power. Otherwise, I just wouldn't. If I'm playing a Knights deck, I'm
no. There's no reason not to play the other Laswell. I only kind of looked at his face immediately, and he kind of looks like Angelina Jolie.
Oh, I wish you didn't tell me that. Moving on.
Did you see it?
Yes, we're on to Wind now, which starts with 4 CP Arc, EX Burst 7k, Warrior of Light.
I love all these arts.
Yeah, when he enters the field, reveal the top 5 cards of your deck, add 1 Fire, Earth, or Water card among them to your hand, return the other cards to the bottom of the deck in any order. If there are 4 more different elements among forwards you control, the forwards you control gain 2k power. Warrior Light, like what do you expect? It's super good.
It's super cool. I don't know if good is the right word.
I would play this at a 2-of in Warrior Light deck. I think it is.
I think that EX Burst is what makes it good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All in all, it's a good card. This is my favorite from the spoilers that were initially revealed. Iris, 2 CP, win backup. When a category 15 forward enters your field, activate Iris, pay 1, put Iris into the break zone, choose a forward, it gains this forward, cannot be chosen by your opponent's abilities until the end of turn. She not only defends your Noctis, the new starter deck Noctis, but she also makes all of your dudes cheaper, basically. Your Gladius, he costs 1. Your Prompto costs 1. Your Ignis costs 4 or 3. Like, nuts.
The boys are going to be really good. Boys are gonna be really good this format.
So fun. Delusionary.
I want you to know, Noah. I renamed the deck Them Boys.
Yeah, you should have did Road Trip Boys.
I like Them Boys, like Them Duke Boys. Yeah. Them Boys are at it again.
Delusionary Dragoon, another job mannequin, has haste. 3-drop 7k. When it enters the field, choose a job mannequin forward, and it gains haste as well. Like
it's sick as fuck. Oh my god.
And the fun thing about mannequins is once you get the backups down, like they cost no actual color requirement, so they're fine.
Here's the thing, the cool part about mannequins, your X stuff is free.
Yep.
That's the cool part about mannequins, and then they got all this shit.
Next one.
Mannequins were already looking cool.
We have Kites, which has been revealed. When Kites enters the field, reveal top 3 cards of your deck, add a 1 card among them to your hand, return the others to the bottom of the deck in any order. If it's category 12 character, activate Kites, and then dull him, put him in the break zone, choose up to 2 characters, activate him. He's pretty
I hate this card. Never playing it.
Because he's not the other Kites, obviously.
Well, I wish he was a forward.
3 CP Ranger. 7k. When Ranger enters the field, choose a forward or monster of cost 1, break it. I don't like this card. Moving on.
It's boring.
Cerberus. Sick ass art.
Very
when
cool
Cerberus
art.
enters the field, select one of the 3 following actions. Choose a forward of 5 or more, break it, activate all the backups you control, or draw a card. Pay 0 until end of turn. Cerberus also becomes a forward with 9k power, only usable if you cast 2 or more cards this turn, and only once per turn. Card sick. It's not like super busted, but it is a really good card to extend plays, which Mono Wind fucking loves. For 3 CP to restand all 5 of my backups and continue my plays even more is insane. Or to draw a card, like...
Or if, honestly, if you just need to, like, if you're at a mid-game point, just being able to break something.
Yep.
Super good, too.
Moving to the next one, we have 5 CP 9k Colcab. During each turn, when it's chosen by opponent's summons or abilities for the first time in that turn, each player puts the top card of their deck into the break zone. Mill deck! If both players are the same, if both cards are the same card type, cancel its effect. Go Rose!
Calm down, Crocker.
I want a mill deck. Fairy Godparents! Damage 3 and gains 1k power.
Yeah, cool, whatever. I haven't seen the rest of it. I don't know if you've read everything. Is there a Naqual thing going on here? Is there something going on, or is that just...
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Because this is the same thing as the fire dude.
It's not, is it?
Yep, same class.
I mean, I don't think there's anything, but there might be. Who knows? Moving on. Yeah, in a mill deck, I would play this card in a heartbeat. Avalanche Operative. I can't pronounce that name to save my life. Zenji? I haven't played Integrate, so I don't know how they pronounce it. 2 CP backup. Dunlum, put him in the break zone, search for a category 7 forward, add it to your hand. And he's an Avalanche Operative. And I wanted to play Avalanche Operatives under Wind Earth. This gives me the chance to play it under Wind Earth. And he's a 2 CP backup.
Do that? Why would you ruin Avalanche Operatives by playing it under Wind
Earth? Because under Wind, I get access to, is it Fujito? That says when he goes to break zone, I remove a dude, which means
you're just a Fujito simp.
I can play Vincent. I can play 5 CP Barret instead, because under Wind, that's the better Barret to play. And I get access to the Yuffie, the new Yuffie, and I get access to the Yuffie that searches out red. So like,
that's my god.
Moving on, Thief does the same thing as the other ones.
Yes, but this is nuttier. This matters.
What
do
matters?
Do you know what Thief says? I'll draw an. I'll shorten my deck and draw an extra card inside my my Storm deck.
I mean, all of these that have elements that would be in a Storm deck does the same thing.
Yes, but I mean, specifically, we already have a Wind Storm deck, and this just does it.
Oh, yeah, it gives you extra cards.
Yep.
Moving on to Charlotta. Warp 2.
Yeah. Hell
when Charlotta enters the field, you can search for a card, add it to your hand. Gross. Like, in a Storm deck, gross.
Any deck, really? Like, if you play like Tyro or any color fixing, this card just says Warp, pay that color fix, pay 1.
Yeah. I think it's better in a Storm deck, personally, just because with the Warp on her, you get to go... and within like those 2 turns, you're close to being set up, and you can find whatever missing piece you need for your deck.
Oh, I'm gonna play this in a 5-color Waft deck. Don't you worry.
Oh Jesus Christ! Moving on.
I'm the most upset that Quattro Queen didn't have Warp now.
Dryad. If you cast Dryad, you can remove 10 wind cards in the break zone from the game as an extra cost. Choose a forward, deal at 2k damage for each wind character you control. If you pay the extra cost, you also draw a card.
This has so far been the weakest one in my opinion.
Yeah.
The draw card's cool, but
I'd rather just play Pandemonium and restand a backup. It does like the same thing. Nash.
I'd just play the last Dryad.
Moving on, we have Nash. We've already seen. When it enters the field, you can pay 4, 2 of it being wind. Field, name 1 job and 1 element other than light or dark. Bartz gains the name job and element. Does not leave. For each forward other than Bartz you control with the same job as Bartz, he gains 2k power. Nuts. Bartz cannot be chosen by your opponent's summons or abilities that share its element. Double nuts. So against mono element decks, Bartz like shits on.
Do you know what the most disgusting thing with this is?
He can be a Sin Hunter or a Samurai.
He can be a Soiree.
Or a Soiree, yeah. Or an Avalanche Operative. James, he can be an Avalanche Operative.
Oh my god! I don't care. The Soiree thing's the nuttiest thing. Soirees needed, in my opinion, 1 more forward to make it Like, I think the hardest part with Soirees is getting the 4 immediately, especially if you're trying to balance with other things to make your deck better.
And you get to choose this element.
Yep.
It's gross.
The nuts.
Next one.
Another cool card.
We have Poppy. The Wind Forward 2 CP 5k, the Wind Forward you control. Gain this forward cannot be blocked by a forward, cost 3 or more. Gross. The Ice Forward you control gain 1k power in first strike, and then the Earth Forward you control gain 10k power in Brave. This definitely goes in my road trip, boys, because it says that they can be blocked by 3 or more, and they gain Brave in 1k, which means I don't have to transfer the Brave, just the Haste, which is super sick.
Them boys are picking up some dates.
Yeah, I'd play this in a 2-of in that deck. Moving on, we have
Yuri.
Yuri. If you control 3 or more category FFCC characters, Yuri cannot be chosen by your opponent's summons or abilities, and then when Yuri enters the field or attacks, choose up to 2 category FFCC characters, activate them. I almost think this is better than the one that says tap, draw a card, virtually, because it doesn't draw, you have to check, but...
Yeah,
in a win deck, card's nuts. You can't touch it. You play Pavlov, you play Norstalin, you play Althea,
Yep.
He can't be touched, and then he gets to restand all it, like 2 dudes every fucking time.
Yep.
Like,
It is much better.
Mono win keeps getting better. Moving on, Yuffie. We've seen Yuffie for like ages now. 5 CP,
Yeah.
9k. When Yuffie attacks, activate all forwards you control. Until the end of your opponent's turn, Yuffie gains 10k power, and Yuffie cannot be chosen by your opponent's summons or abilities. Gross. And then Doom of the Living is special, pay to win $. Choose any number of forwards, divide 24,000 damage among them as you like. Must be units of 1,000.
Units of 1,000. Card hits hard.
What's the non-full? Yeah, they both look good. Obviously, the full art looks way better, but
yeah,
I do like the color that they. I wish the full art added the color, low-key. Yeah, this card, hella good. This is probably one of the biggest chase cards in the set too. Like it's a legend. It's worth the legend slot. Moving on, we have Leafkin. It's a 2 CP backup, damage 3, pay 3, 2 being wind. Dole it when put Leafkin into the break zone, search for a forward to cost 5 or 6, play it onto the field. You can only use this ability during your turn. I think it's super cool too.
Do you know what this is really neat with? Playing an 11 deck.
Oh, yeah.
I think it'd be really funny to be like, get rid of this. Cool, I'll drop down
It sucks, but it's fair that it's only usable during your turn. But yeah, at least it's a cool card.
Oh yeah.
I would definitely see this at like a 1-of in
I don't know why it's a full art. Don't know why it's a full art.
Ahriman. I'm sorry. When it enters the field, choose a forward other than multi-element, break it. That's okay. Pay 0 until the end of turn. It also becomes a forward with 8k power. You can only use this ability if you control a forward of 9k or more. Only once per turn. It's whatever.
Card seems very beholden.
4 CP, break it, dude.
Yeah.
Delusionary Knight. 1 CP, 3k, put it into the break zone, choose a mannequin, and it gains it can't be broken. Gross.
Yep, seems nuts.
That's insane. Can't go my dude. Galoof. Love this card. 4 CP, 8k, Brave, Dawn Warriors, one of my favorite archetypes that like just doesn't have a full legs to stand on. When Galoof attacks, choose a forward the opponent controls, deal it damage equal to Galoof's power. Remove 3 cards in the break zone from the game. Galoof gains 3k power until end of turn. Damage 3, Galoof gains 3k power. This man just says on swing, shoot it, dude.
Yep.
Every Galoof card is basically
just a really big dude. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's super good. Like it's sometimes that's all you need.
This next card,
and he's
fucking love the art.
This Quile art is so good.
So much.
Quile, 4 CP EX burst backup. When Quile enters the field, select one of the 2 following actions. Choose a summon in your break zone, add it to your hand, super cool. Or choose a category 5 forward in your break zone, add it to your hand. Hardcore. I would honestly, I could try and mix this and Dawn Warriors and Warriors of Light, like a little bit of Warriors of Light. For this,
I want this card so fucking badly. This art is so disgustingly good.
I think it's a really good card. I think it's a strong card to play, especially if you're playing a summon deck. This is good. If you're playing anything with category 4 or category 5 characters in your deck, it's also really solid. On next is Kate Sith, who we've seen before. Kate Sith 11, to be specific, enters the field, choose a forward in your break zone, add it to your hand, and the damage 3 if it's on the field. It can produce CP of any element. Solid,
which I think is
solid
nuts.
Color fixer.
Kalka. 2 CP backup. When Kolka enters the field, you can discard 1 forward. If you do, choose 1 forward, deal damage equal to the discard forward's power. I think this card's really nuts. I would play this in the Chaos Job, the Job Chaos deck we built.
Yeah.
Being able to 9k something when I pull this in seems good.
Yep, Kolka's solid.
Yep.
I don't have any grievances with it.
Neither do I.
James.
Seraphine, 3-drop Waff Companion forward. With Seraphine enters the field, you can search for a job, one card named Tamma, sorry. Add it to your hand. When a forward of cost 2 or less enters the field, place a gym counter on Seraphine, and you can remove 2 gym counters to draw a card. Only playable during your turn and once per turn.
Were you counting how many WoF characters there were of cost 2 or less?
Was I counting? No.
By any chance?
Do I know how many?
It says forward, right? Does it say WoF forward of 2 or less or character of 2 or
No,
less?
forward of cost 2 or less. Forward.
Okay, so let's
just
see.
win a forward. This doesn't have to be WoF. Your main ones
but
are...
in the WoF ones, there's at least 8.
Yes, but in WoF ones you'll play, there's probably about 3.
Han, Frit, Lon, Boblies, Bahamut Soldier, Chocobo, and Zapped. And then the old Seraphine, but you're not playing that unless you're playing Title, so.
Yeah, and you only play like 3 of them at a time anyway, so like it's very weird.
Yep. Moving on. Boop. James.
Tamma, 2-drop forward. Oh my gosh. Tamma now you play 4. Tamma cannot attack or block. Tamma cannot be chosen by your opponent, summons her abilities. Man, this card's so good. When a forward you control is chosen by your opponent, summons your ability. Put Tamma in the break zone. If you do, cancel your effect. I can protect Rain.
Yeah, Rain has solid protection now.
I can protect my Rain and still play Earth, Fire. Oh my god.
Moving on, we have Daisy, who we've also seen before. If a forward you control, yeah, she was like one of the earlier Japanese spoilers. Yeah, if a forward you control other than Daisy is dealt damage, the damage is dealt to Daisy instead. Nuts. Damage 3, she gains 3k power, and then Wearing Spirit. You special her, she gains 30k power until the end of turn.
She's the 30k one, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, she's the lightning rod. She's cool. Then we have Tilika as the next one. 3 CP, 7k forward EX burst. When she enters the field, gain a crystal, and then pay an Earth Dollar, gain another crystal. So you have a consistent crystal generation with.
I need to pull up FF Dex real quick. Is there another Daisy in the game?
Not that I'm aware of. Also, I do want to state that I think it's really funny that she's a crystal user that generates crystals.
Oh, you're talking about Tilika.
Yeah.
Sorry, I moved on. I was thinking about Daisy.
You were back. I moved on.
Yeah, there's no other Daisies. Don't worry.
Tilika's cool.
I checked.
I just don't know if it matters to generate crystals as often as you think. You need.
No.
You usually need like 5 or 6.
I'm upset there's nothing we do in FFCC right now that uses crystals. I think it'd be really cool if we had like an FFCC thing that did crystals.
James, guess what's next? Our spoiler.
Our spoiler! Oh my god! Nail, 3-drop, Avalanche Operative. Tap, you can choose a backup. Tap, you can choose a forward. It gains Brave until the end of the turn. Only playable during your main phase. So you can't play during the battle phase. Tap, pay 1, choose a forward, name a job. It gains the job until the end of the turn. Super nutty card. Oh my god, it's crazy!
Yeah, we've got to set everything we can about this though too, with our spoiler review.
Yeah. We went like
this goes in
two decks.
my Mako deck, hands down.
Avalanche and Soirees, that's it.
Yep.
Avalanche and Soirees are your 2 best decks.
Moving on, Hashmal. If you cast Hashmal, you can remove 10 Earth cards. For an extra cost, choose a forward you control. It gains 7k power until the end of turn. If you pay the extra cost, all the forwards you control gain 7k power until the end of turn. It's fine.
You play this amongst 100%. You play this amongst.
Yeah, it'll fuck people up. Geomancer, the same as the others. You
pay it, discard.
Polk.
Here's a good one.
Another Avalanche Operative. We got a good amount of them, which is why I'm excited for this Mako deck. When Polk enters the field, choose a job Avalanche Operative in your break zone, add it to your hand. Gross. And then pay 1, dull him, put him in break zone, choose a forward, and he gains 2k power until the end of turn.
Nuts.
Insane.
Really good.
Next one, we have Beastmaster, 3-drop, 7k. Dull it, choose a forward. It cannot attack or block until the end of your opponent's next turn. That's pretty cool, actually.
You just trade 1 for 1, basically.
Yeah, which, like, it's whatever. Next one is Yumcats.
Yumcats.
3. And then if it's dealt damage, reduce the damage by 2k instead. Damage 3, it gains Brave, and when it's put from field to break zone, draw a card.
Why would you warp this?
For later in the game. So you have.
Why would you play this?
Because it's a big blocker, that gives you a card at damage 3. Like, by the time you play this, you're probably going to be at damage 3.
It's another 11. It's an Aqual.
Yeah, it's another one of those.
Yeah.
It's
Riku.
Fine. Yeah, Riku. The Earth package you control can produce CP of any element, color fixing. When you cast a multi-element forward, choose one Earth forward other than card Riku in your break zone, add it to your hand. This effect will trigger once per turn. Meaning your multi-element forwards are generally cheap.
Yeah.
You only play her in a multi-element deck, honestly. She's never going to be played in a Gold Wings deck.
And anytime she's on board, she's almost like an instant lightning rod too, which is scary.
You want to deal with her because she allows them to pay anything.
She's just real scary to keep on board.
Next one's Red Mage.
Both players too.
Does the same thing. Oh, we're on Lightning. We're on Lightning now.
Yeah.
Red Mage. Pay Lightning, discard, and draw a card. Moving on, we have another Amph now, the third one in like 3 sets back to back, I believe. When she enters the field, reveal the top 5 cards of your deck, add a character cost 2 or less among them to your hand, return the others to the bottom of the deck, and then damage 3, pay Lightning Doler, put her in a break zone, choose a forward to cost 2 or less in your break zone, play it onto the field, you can only use this ability during your turn. Yeah, she's fine.
She's okay.
She's a backup, so like if you play the Object Mage, she can keep bringing them back after damage 3 if they keep killing it. But like other than that, it's whatever. August.
Oh
cool
my
card art.
God.
60 during this turn, if 3 or more forwards have left the field, the cost required to cast August is reduced by 6, so he's free. When he attacks, activate him, and he can attack twice in the same turn until the end of turn. This effect will trigger once per turn. I've noticed that Lightning and Fire specifically are starting to get a good chunk of cards that are just like we can attack multiple times. Especially Lightning, because you have August, you have Noel, you have Estinian, you have Ravana.
Ravana's a good one.
Ravana can attack 4 times. Like nuts.
Yeah.
I think it's a solid card. That's where I stand with it. Next is Commandant, who we've seen as well. Cannot be chosen by multi-element forward ability, so if people are playing multi-elements, they're kind of just sitting ducks. And then when it attacks, choose a forward, dole it. Pretty good. And then damage 3, he gains 10k, or 1k. He's fine. I think he pairs better, like, if you were going to play a Lightning Ice deck, him, Snow, and Alcid means on swing, he doles 3 dudes, which is super sick. Garuda. I think this card's nuts. Warp 5.
Oh my God.
First off, Warp 5, 2 Lightning. I will wholeheartedly play this card in any Lightning deck I make now, because by that time we're losing dudes anyways. When she enters the field, break all forwards, no matter if they're active or not, other than herself. Gross.
It's literally pay 2, wait 5 turns, blow everything up, swing for a game.
Yeah, I hope you have an Amma, because if you don't, like, sick, dude. I just reset the board and I'm sitting pretty with a 9k on board.
Do you know what I think? Do you know what I actually think this is really good with? I think this is very good with your like if you want to make a mono Lightning version of your Black Mage deck.
Yeah.
Because then you just rebuild your hand size anyway, so it doesn't ever really matter.
Yep, my Black Waltz dies and I'll pick up two Black Mages.
Yep.
Next one.
And then a Gilgamesh!
I love Gilgamesh. One of these days I'll build a Gilgamesh deck. I've said that before.
I really want to too.
4 CP, 7k with haste. When Gilgamesh enters the field, you can remove any number of cards in your break zone from the game. When you do so, choose a forward to cost equal to or less than the number of elements among removed cards. Break it. Gross. Damage 3, Gilgamesh gains Brave and can attack twice. Look at that. Lightning getting cards that can attack twice again.
Oh, it's really good.
Next one, Cypher. I love these line of cards just because I like Cypher in the gang, and it's just nice. When Cypher enters the field, you can receive a point of damage. When you do so, choose a category 8 forward other than Cypher in your break zone, add it to your hand. And then when you receive a point of damage, choose a forward until the end of turn and gains 2k power and haste. So Cypher essentially enters the field as a 9k with haste.
Yep.
That picked you up a dude.
Yeah.
Next one is Sid Kramer. While paying the cost to cast a category 8 card, if Sid Kramer is on the field, he can produce CP of any element. Gross.
Oh, disgusting.
Category 8 color
You're just
fix
gonna
right
give category 8 color fix for free?
Yep.
Why can't WAF have this, huh? Why can't WAF have this?
Next we have Sid Sophier. 2 CP EX Burst, damage 3 EX Burst. When he enters the field, choose a character break zone, add to your hand.
You play 3 of this, it's nuts.
Only a damage 3 is he nuts though. Cindy, 2 CP, forward, engineer with haste, choose a forward the opponent controls, dole it. If you receive 4 more points of damage, or 4 points of damage or less, she deals you a point of damage. Which, like,
this card's garbage. This card seems like garbage to me.
Honestly, I think she's fine.
It's terrible early game, and late game you have to set up for her.
No, you don't. What do you have to set up for?
Because all she does is dull, so you don't get anything out of it besides attacking.
Which is, she has haste anyways, it's fine.
She has to tap to do her ability.
Yeah, that's fine. She's 2 CP. She stops a dude, and you can block another dude. She can stop something important. I think she's fine. Fujin. I love this card. Want full arts. If you control a card named Cypher, Fujin, and the card named Cypher, you control gain 2k power, and then at damage 3, Fujin and the card named Cypher forward, you control gain 2k power, and this forward cannot be chosen by your opponent's summons. Meaning, these, Cypher becomes an 11k on damage 3, and a 9k at base, and then Fujin becomes a 7k, and then at damage 3, it's a 9k at base, and they can't be targeted by summons, which is gross. Moving on, we have Hurricane. When Hurricane enters the field, choose forward, cost 5 or less, break it, and then pay 5, 2 of it being lightning, dull it, put Hurricane into the break zone, choose forward, cost 5 or less, break it. Honestly, I think out of all of them, this one's fine.
Yeah.
Pay 6.
It's also Knockwell.
Yeah, pay 6, break a dude, and then pay 5, break a dude. It's whatever. Like, it's not the best, but it's fine.
Another scene.
Yeah, when she enters the field, choose a forward, cost 4 or less, you gain control of it. Nuts. And then pay 0 until end of turn. She also becomes a forward with 7k power. And when she's chosen by your opponent, summons her abilities, if your opponent doesn't discard, cancel the effect. Gross.
That's pretty cool.
Next one, another mannequin. Imitation Despot. If you control 3 or more job mannequin, the cost required to cast Imitation Despot is reduced by 2. So it's always a 2-drop because of the backups. When it enters the field, choose 1 job mannequin other than it in your break zone added to hand. So you can just keep recycling your mannequins.
The 2-drop salvage? Okay.
Yep. Raijin. I love
gosh.
that. I love that you can play all of these under lightning right now. If you control a card named Cypher, Raijin and the card named Cypher you control gain 2k in power, gross damage 3. Raijin and the card named Cypher you control gain 2k power, and this forward cannot be chosen by your opponent's abilities, meaning your opponent has to board wipe you. Your opponent has to board wipe you, because your Cypher gains 8k from 7, so he's like, what, a 15k? Yeah.
Let's see here.
Gross.
Yeah, he's real fucking big.
God. Ramu.
That is fucking big.
Sick card. If you cast Ramu, you can remove 10 lightning cards in your break zone from the game as an extra cost. Choose 4, deal it 7k damage. If you paid the extra cost, deal it 15 instead for whatever reason. You're like, it's dead. Next one. Yeah, because we definitely need more Dragoons and standard unit Dragoons at that. When it enters the field, you can pay 5 if you do choose a forward, break it, and then damage 3 so you get power and haste.
Nuts. It's exactly what Dragoons needed.
It's all Dragoons do. Ash, we've seen Ash. She's super cool. The cost required is reduced for each water backup you control. And then when she enters the field, you can choose a forward until the end of turn. It loses 2k power for each water backup you control. Solid card. Beautiful full art.
Oh, it's a forward. I thought it was a backup.
60p, 9k. And we're on water. Next one. False Hero, another mannequin. You can discard a job mannequin instead of paying the CB cost to cast False Hero. Gross. And then the job mannequin forwards other than False Hero you control gain 2k power. What the fuck are they doing, dude?
They just want you to play mannequins again.
It's a solid deck, especially if you can keep looping the VTOS mannequin now. Like, what the hell? Ingrid, really cool card art. She's a category 11 too. When she's put from the field to the break zone, remove all characters in your opponent's break zone from the game.
This card's really good.
5 or more cards are removed from the game by this effect. Draw a card. Gross.
This card's nuts. I really like this card.
It's really good.
Oh, dude, Echidna.
Echidna.
Dude, is this I was just gonna make a joke. Is this Knuckles?
I hate you.
When Echidna enters the field, choose 1 summon your break zone, add to your hand. Discard 1 summon until the end of turn. Echidna becomes a forward with 8k. When Echidna attacks or blocks, draw a card. You can only play this ability once per turn. It's actually really good.
Yeah, it is a really cool water. It's a 2 CP 8k monster essentially.
A Falca deck.
We've seen this one as well. Kalmia.
Ever?
Yeah, she was spoiled probably a few days ago.
Oh my god, that bottom ability is nuts.
All cards in your break zone cannot be chosen by your opponent's summons or abilities. Funny. And then the power forwards you control cannot be decreased by your opponent's summons or abilities. Super good.
It's so funny. Like, the only thing she hard counters right now is she counters Edward and she counters
X-Death. She counters X-Death.
Does X-Death choose?
Chooses it. Here, let me read X-Death because I'm pretty sure it says choose all characters and remove them. But let me double check.
I just thought it said all. I thought it just said all characters. I thought it just said all characters. If then, yeah, sure. But
Xdeath, when Xdeath enters the field. Oh no, it doesn't. It just says remove all characters. It doesn't say.
Yeah, the only feature hits right now is Alba and Edward. It's not that the ability's not nuts. I think that ability's gonna be really good if they continue down the line they're on. This card does like nothing right now.
The next one, Cloud of Darkness, who they just made a backup basically, and I'm okay with that. I actually like this better.
Yep.
Water's board wipe, which is super sick. You just because you have Yuna out, so you'll just Atomos or Famfrit the last card anyways. Hilarious. This card is definitely like a 2 of. Next one is T'Chaka. The forwards of an element other than water lose 10k power, or 1k power, sorry, gross. And then when it attacks, all the forwards the opponent controls lose 2k power until the end of turn. Actually really cool. James?
You make everything lose 3k?
Yeah. I think it's fine. Their board's weaker. Like,
it's fine, but I don't... They're all not calls, and I haven't seen a single card.
For decks that want to sit here and play Aerith and Maria and sit on them, this deck, that card helps counter it. Next one is Nirin.
I think this card's nuts too.
If you control a Jaw Princess, she gains 2k power, backup. And then when a Jaw Princess enters you field, draw a card. Triggers once per turn. Super sick. I think the main thing to make her a 3-drop 9k is like the important thing, because you can play her in the Knights deck with like an Ovelia. It's super cool.
Geomancer, draw one.
Another Rune Fencer, when it enters the field, choose a forward, it loses 4k. And then also, you can pay 3 if you do, choose a forward, loses 7k. I think it's fine, but like it's not the best.
Okay, you won't play it. The next card's the best card in this set.
Leviathan? Dude, let's... James,
this is the best card.
I'll be right back.
Huh? What?
Just explain that, I'll be right back.
Okay, this is the best card in the set, guys. Leviathan, 3 costs, summon. It's from FFTCG, who cares? If you cast Leviathan, you may remove 10 water cards from your break zone as an extra cost from the game, and then you choose one auto ability triggered from a forward, cancel its effects if you pay the extra cost. That forward is on the field. Return that forward to its owner's hand. I don't know why you would ever want to pay the cost to remove the 10 or add something to your opponent's hand. I don't see why you would ever want that. Sometimes I guess I can get it, but like the ability just to cancel an auto ability for a 3 cost. This is just Water's version of Ama. It's really nice. I really like it. I, in my opinion, would almost never add anything to their hand. It's just a cool free, just negate. So good.
Did you mention Yuna with this card?
No, I didn't mention Yuna making it a 2 cost.
Yeah, Yuna making this a 2 cost also just makes this card infinitely better.
I was just talking about how you almost just don't even need to pay the 10 water cards to play it.
No, just cancel an ability. Who cares?
Just cancel the thing. Who cares?
I'm okay with that. If you replay your dude, I'd rather just cancel your dude and let him sit there than give you the chance to replay it. It's insane.
Easy.
It's essentially a 2 CP Ama that doesn't kill anything, but stopping the ability is what's important. The only thing is, it does only target forwards.
Who cares?
That means like Shantotos and stuff still get around, but like whatever.
Yeah, who cares?
Next one, Renoa. 3 CP water, Resistance Fighter, Warp 2 for 1 water. When she enters the field, you can pay X. When you do so, choose a forward of cost X or less, put it into the break zone. Not break it, but put it in a break zone. Gross. Is it Angelo Cannon? I think it's Angelo Cannon. Special, reveal a forward in your hand, choose a forward, deal damage equal to the power of the forward you reveal. Gross.
Okay.
Yeah, she's solid. Luna Freya. What the hell, dude? 7 CP, 5k, Warp 4, pay 2 water. When she enters the field, draw 2 cards. When she enters due to Warp, draw 1 card. So if you're just like, I'm gonna set up for 4 turns from now, you'll just be like, pay 2, put her to the side, play your game,
and then
for
the Theodore.
4 turns later, 4 turns later, you're like, oh, look at this, I just drew 5 cards.
I'm gonna reiterate, like I said for the Theodore, what this should have been was, if you paid the Warp, you draw 1. If you pay the 7, you draw 3. That's what it should have been. That's what it should have been, in my opinion.
But it isn't.
Draw 3 because you decided to pay 2 4 turns ago is disgusting.
Stop getting Water Luna Freyas. Can we get like some other Category 15 character underwater?
Hey, just because you want to play Luna Freya with your King's Glaive or your party boys.
It's more of just I want to be able to play Category 15 with water that isn't just Luna Freya, because it's always Luna Freya.
Yeah.
Next one.
Leo.
4 CP backup, EX burst. When he enters the field, choose a forward, return to his owner's hand. If you control 2 or more job standard units, put it on top of the deck instead. Pretty good. He's good solid removal.
He's a really cool job standard unit card.
If you want, you could play him with Typhon, and you can get rid of 2 dudes back into their deck instead of in your hand or something. Next one. Lena. Fucking sick card art. God.
Yes. Oh my.
Oh man, dude. This card's insane. So Princess Warrior Light. All cards in your break zone cannot be removed from the game by your opponent summons their abilities. She counters X Death. And then choose 12 water cards in your, or remove 12 water cards in your break zone from the game. Choose a water forward in your break zone, play it onto the field. You can only use this ability during your turn.
Nuts.
If you can do it multiple times, which one is gross, if you can afford it, which is fair. Also, it's any water forward.
Yup.
The cost doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'll play Leviathan.
Like, yeah, exactly. You're like, remove 12 Leviathan. Oh, cool. Thanks for the game winner, dude. Like,
basically says I remove 24 CP from my deck and from my discard.
You know what the funniest part is? Is that the best direct counter to this, which would be Mist Dragon, doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
You actually just sit there and get Leviathan.
You Mist Dragon before. You Mist Dragon before.
You have to Mist Dragon before she's on field. The second she's on field, you can't do it.
Yeah.
That's the issue.
Happens.
She's solid. Next one is Len.
Lene?
Another type of Lena. Sorry. 2 CP backup. Summoner. Pay 1, dull, draw a card. You can only use this ability if you cast a summon this turn. Jeez, whatever.
That's okay.
It could have been better. Waka. 3 CP X first backup. When Waka enters the field, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. Add a water or category 10 character among them to your hand. Return the other cards to the bottom of the deck.
Why would you ever play any other Waka but the last one?
If you're playing a water deck, this Waka is actually really good.
Who cares?
If you're playing category 10,
the other Waka gives you
title
power.
deck. This Waka is nuts as well.
I mean, title, yes.
And then we move on to light and dark cards. First one's Elena. Brave.
FFTCG.
Dollar. She gains 3k power until the end of turn. Pay $1, draw a card once per turn, or pay $3. Your opponent reveals their hand. You select a card from it, and you make them discard. Actually, like, she's a 1-drop 5k, which is a little rough, but she's cool.
She's really cool.
She could be like a pseudo lightning rod, or like a really good tech piece for like a turn.
Or if you just want to be able to funnel through your deck, drawing cards is nuts.
Yep. Next one is Squall. Card's insane. If you control 2 or more category 8 characters, the cost to cast Squall is reduced by 2, so he's at 2 cost 8k. And when he enters the field or attacks, choose a character, dull and freeze it. All the forwards you control gain 1k power until the end turn. This card's nuts.
Really good.
It's a really solid card, and it's a hero. Like, dude, sick. Ultimecia, which I sent you, and I thought this card was nuts. The cost required for all players to cast cards other than backup is increased by 1. Damage 5, the cost required for your opponent to cast cards other than backup is increased by 1. Like, what? Your deck plays so differently now.
Yes.
If you're playing, can you imagine playing against a samurai player who likes to throw Tenzin out turn 1, and like your first turn you just slam down Ultimecia and you go pitch 4 cards?
Imagine setting this card up in your hand, right? And then you paid the 4-turn wait cost on fucking what's it called, on Garuda, the 5-turn wait cost.
Oh yeah.
So you board wipe them, and then you drop this at like damage 5, and everything costs +2.
They can't catch up.
Imagine that.
Actually, that sounds really fun. I might do that.
Or imagine Ultimecia in the same deck you're playing King Typhon.
You know how you get around her ability is by using Warp.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
Imagine using her with like King Typhon as well.
Yeah, King Tycoon.
Yeah, Tycoon.
Solid card. Next one, Soul FFBE.
I love his outfit.
3 drop 9k. At the beginning of the attack phase during each player's turn, select one of the 3 following actions. If you've received 5 points of damage or more, select up to 3 of the 3 following actions. Until the end of turn, all forwards you control gain 1k Brave. Nuts. All the forwards your opponent controls lose 2k power until the end of turn. Nuts. During this turn, your opponent cannot cast summons. Double nuts. Like,
yep.
Shut them down. Hella hard.
Yeah. Just having the ability to do just one of them is nuts.
Yeah, I mean, like, telling a summon deck they can't cast summons is actually really funny.
Giving 1,000 and Brave to everything in a deck that likes to like build a board state is nuts.
Yup.
This art is nuts.
It's a 3-drop 9K. It's so good.
Yeah, it really is. It doesn't do anything terrifically heinous either.
You
Which
see
is
who
pretty nice.
the next card protects it.
Oh my
Or
god.
can play it. Oh no, it has to be fire ice, my bad. But it does semi-protect it.
Oh my god.
Axstar. So we're on the multicolors now. When Axstar enters the field, dull and freeze all the forwards other than cost 3. Nuts. When it enters the field, you can play a fire ice forward to cost 3 or less onto the field. Nuts. And when it enters the field or attacks, choose a forward the opponent controls, deal 3k damage for each forward to cost 3 you control. Nuts. Like, this card has 3 on enter abilities, and Ratsu can only cancel 1 of them because they're all separated.
Yup.
It's insane. Like, no matter what, you get value.
Yes.
Yeah, because they're win-win-win, period. They're not like a modal where it's like, choose these.
Yes, because of all the chain marks, yeah.
Yep, it's super cool. This card, worthy of the legend spot, in my opinion.
I still wish they fixed the chain.
Next one. Caius was revealed, I think, like a day or 2 ago. Maybe today. I don't know.
Yesterday. It was revealed yesterday.
Yesterday? Cool. So Caius. 2 CP 9k, gross. When he enters the field, discard your hand. That sucks, but like whatever. When he attacks, select one of the 2 following actions. Your opponent discards a card, cool. Or he gains, if he deals damage to a forward, or your opponent, double the damage instead, which is nuts.
My favorite thing I've seen so far was just because somebody, like, I think it was like a partial like Google translation type of thing, but like the entire ability that they read was when Caius enters field, throw hands.
Throw hands, yeah. They just kept doing throw hands on everything.
So if Caius attacks, throw hands.
So there's a category 13. Next one, we have Snow, another category 13. When he enters the field or attacks, reveal the top 2 cards of your deck. Remove a category 13 card among them from the game and return the other cards to the bottom of the deck in any order. You can cast it at any time. You can normally cast it this turn. So it only
I don't think they're adding this turn to cards now.
They need to.
The other thing is you still have to pay cost.
Yep.
You still have to pay colors. You still have to pay colors.
Yeah.
You still have the color fix.
I mean, he just helps you search for dudes, and like.
And honestly, he also becomes an 8k with haste at damage 3.
Yep. Like, I think Snow's a solid card.
Here's the best color. Here's the best multicolor in this set.
Zonde.
Yeah, Zonde is the best multicolor in this set.
Zonde enters the field, choose up to the same number of forwards the opponent controls as characters put into the break zone from your field during this turn. Deal them 9k damage. Pay 2, a fire and a earth. Put 5 backups in the break zone. Play Zonde on the field. You can only use this ability during your turn, and if Zonde's in the break zone. The only thing that sucks is if they Ama this card, you're like dead.
Oh, 100%. So like, if you're having to play this, it's because you have no other options.
Yeah. Or
so,
you're
like,
really just going for the game.
Like if you're either really pushing or you're trying to reset game state. Like I think the only deck that really like takes advantage of this deck right now would probably be Avalanche. This gives Avalanche a reset button, which is what you don't want Avalanche to have.
Is a reset button.
Is a reset button, and especially when we have Elf, which is a fire searcher. We still have like you got the 2 new ones in the set. You have Zangan for Tifa search. You get the girl that searches any of the Barrett, Tifa, Cloud, Eris. Like, you have a good number of cards that you can play now that already fix your deck up really well. And if for some reason you still can't get ahead in an Avalanche deck, this card just says, yeah, let's go back to square one.
Let's go back to square one. Yeah, no, it's really good. I like this
one. I love it.
Next one, Bosch. When Bosch enters the field, you can receive a point of damage. When you do so, search for a fire earth character other than Carne Bosch added to your hand. It's a character, so you can search for backups. Gross.
Yes.
Damage 3, Bosch gains 1k power and brave, and then damage 5 when he attacks, choose forward the opponent controls and deal 8k damage. I think this card's actually really solid.
This card's really good in a fire earth deck. I don't know.
Yeah. I played on my fire earth monks.
Fire earth monks? Yeah, okay. I was gonna be like, what decks right now are fire earth that actually like do something?
I mean, there's not really a fire earth monk that exists.
Usually it's just what you play, yeah. I know you do. But I'm just trying to think of what other fire earth things exist. And I don't think there's anything right now.
No, Avalanche is like the premier fire earth deck.
And you don't really need Bosch for that deck.
No.
But it does mean if there's ever any Fire Earth archetypes that could use a little help, Bosch is a very good ad. It's a very good ad.
Solid to put in.
If you're just looking at color fix.
Next one, Leon. 2 CP 9k, which is cool. When he enters the field, he deals you a point of damage, which is flavorful. He's a warrior rebel, but like I would not play him over any of the newer ones if I was gonna play him.
Why are there more rebels in this set than fucking Rebellion's Call?
How many rebels are in the set, James?
So far, we've seen 2, I think.
That's more than one. Next card. Sid Haze. I'm tired of them giving us Sid Hazes, only because I want to play an engineer deck, and I can't when they keep giving us Sid Hazes, but this card's bonkers in a storm deck. When he enters the field during this turn, the cost required to cast your next card is reduced by 2, meaning that lock is reduced by 4. At the beginning of the attack phase during each of your turns, choose 2 characters the opponent controls. If you casted 3 or more cards this turn, dull them and freeze them. Gross.
Oh my god, disgusting.
Yeah, this is actually nuts in a storm
And
deck.
it's a forward?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's a lockdown. Like this plus lock, and then casting another card just locks the game. Actually, playing this, casting a card, and then playing lock locks the game down. Because lock will dull freeze 2 dudes and probably break or make them discard. This will dull freeze 2 other dudes.
And
So
I want to know, like, because like right now everyone was playing Storm kind of switched to Mono Wind. I wonder if they're going to try to start switching back to Earth Wind, Ice Wind.
You can do both.
Yeah,
Your ice cards are more tech based, I think, at this point, or probably more the multi-element stuff. But like, yeah, it's nuts.
That's what I mean. Is like right now it's kind of switched over to Mono Wind. I wonder if people are gonna start testing Ice Wind back again.
Next one, Travis revealed this one. Maria, when she's put from field to break zone, select one of the 2 following actions. Your opponent reveals their hand. You select a card from their hand, discard it. Gross, or you activate all the characters you control. Double gross. It's just a solid card. Like actually.
Hey, a rebel!
Oh, that's 3. Next one. I showed you this card, and I thought this card was nuts too.
Yes, it is. It's
so
also Ice Wind.
Warp 1, by the way. Pay Ice Wind. And then, when it enters the field, choose up to 2 backups and up to 2 other backups. Activate the former, freeze the latter. And when it's put from field to break zone, you can remove him from game and then place 2 warp counters on him so he can come back later. What?
Yeah, he never leaves.
He never leaves.
Here's the thing. This is an 8K that you keep on board constantly, that if your opponent gets rid of, they just know they're gonna have 2 frozen backups at some point.
Yeah, like there's gonna be like every two turns they lose 2 of their backups.
And you're never paying 4 for it. You're just paying the 2 at any time.
You're paying the 2 once, and then after
that's what I meant. Is like you're never gonna pay 4 for this card. You're gonna pay 2, and that's it.
Yep.
Card's nuts.
What's the next one? Sephiroth.
Sephiroth.
Which we've seen. When he has back attack, sick, and then when he enters the field, choose a dull forward, break it, nuts, and then when he attacks, select one of the 2 following actions, they discard, or you choose 4 to 2 less and break it. This card's solid. It's a really good card.
Yep.
It's a legend. I think it's okay and worthy of a legend slot, personally.
Lightning?
They give us 2 lightnings, by the way.
Yes, they did.
So this one's 4 CP, Ice, Lightning, Haste, pay 1, choose a forward, dull it. You can only use this ability while Lightning is attacking. Pay 2, 1 being Lightning, 1 being Ice, choose a dull forward, break it, only while Lightning is attacking, or pay 1 dull, your opponent discards a card, you can only use this ability during your turn once per turn. So you either get consistent discard on them, or you can keep breaking dudes or dulling dudes. I think it's a really good
And there's almost no reason not to play both of them either. I mean, we haven't talked about the other one. There's almost no reason you don't play both.
I think the other one's water, which is like the only you would have to.
Oh yeah, that's right. She's not ice. That was the weird part about her. She was water.
Laguna. That's right. This card's also kind of cool. It's a combo. Laguna enters the field or attacks. Select one of the 2 following actions. Choose an active forward, deal at 5k. I hate that it says active, but it is a lightning card. Choose a forward, dull it, which is probably one of its better features. And then satellite laser, special, pay a lightning, pay an ice. Choose a forward, deal at 9k damage, which is cool.
I think if we're gonna play any Lagna and ice or lightning, there's just better ones to play.
I think if you're
especially
Laguna,
especially at a 5 cost.
You play 5 CP Laguna that says on play. If you have a squall, dull freeze something, and then on swing, dull freeze.
Yeah. Or there's one I think that's like on play discarded. Your opponent discards 1 card or something. Yeah, or it's like discard 1, or they take like 6k or something.
Next one, we have Chalinka. When she enters the field, choose a monster the opponent controls and break it. That's solid.
I hate this fucking card. It's fucking garbage. I hate it.
I think she's fine.
I think it doesn't do anything if your opponent doesn't play monsters.
Oh yeah, it's a dead card sitting in the water at that point.
Yeah.
Tifa, nuts. Playing the hell out of this card. If Tifa's dealt
Yeah.
damage, reduce the damage by 2k instead. Gross. When she enters the field, you can pay 2. When you do so, choose a forward the opponent controls. Tifa and the chosen forward deal damage equal to their respective power to the other. Meteor Strike special. Pay a Earth, pay a Wind, pay 2. Choose up to 3 forwards, deal them AK damage. I just want to state that if you decide to pay the full 5, including the 2 for her entry, and you have Noctis on board, you get 2 AK shots, which is insane. One that she doesn't fight, and the other one she does, which, like, whatever. Because
It's
she'll take
gross.
reduced damage. Like, it's insane.
It's gross.
It's so good. And she's a hero.
Oliver, we're finishing up a podcast. Give it a second.
You got Fran, my guy. What's up, Oliver?
Hi.
We're going over the new set for Final Fantasy. We're near the end of it.
Oh, and you guys are doing a podcast about this?
Yeah.
Yes.
Gross.
Welcome to the podcast, buddy.
Welcome to the podcast. Yeah, James, take it away.
So I hate this card. Fran is in Wind Earth, 3 CP Sky Pirate forward. Category 12, of course. If you control Balthier, Fran gains 1,000 Brave. And then when Fran enters the field or attacks, you may play one Category 12 character, a 4 or less from your hand onto the field. The abilities on this card are immense, but why in the fuck would you ever play Earth in your Sky Pirates deck?
Yeah, it feels bad.
I get you could maybe play a Category 12 deck. I get it. But, like, why? When you know Sky Pirates as a whole archetype exists.
Say play a forward that costs 4, right?
Yeah, you play just Category 12 of cost 4 or less.
Okay. So that means the options are Gabranth, Megammon, Bosch.
Are you looking at 4 or less
Or
Category
Gareth.
12 characters?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be backups. It can be anything.
Yeah, I know. I'm
Or-
looking at all of them.
Yeah, there's.
You
I
get
don't know why you would
Khrushchev,
ever play
Khajiit,
anything in Earth.
Zombie, Baggin. You get the Headhunters technically.
What do you know what you do? You play. You just play the Fran off of the Balthier because you get to do that still. Actually, no. Balthier's 2 or less, isn't he?
Yep.
What the? Why? Why?
You're so like. Next card. I'm gonna let you deal with that. Vanille. 2 CP, Lightning Earth, Dull active Vanille, choose an opponent's auto ability. If your opponent doesn't pay 2, cancel the effect. And then Dull, put Vanille into the break zone, choose a backup in your break zone, add to your hand. I think she's cool. They are giving you a lot of ways to cancel autos now, which is kind of nice.
Yeah. Well, do you remember the conversation me, you, and Chris had at the Chinese buffet?
Yeah.
Was I wanted more abilities to interact with my opponent. I wanted them on summons. I guess I'll take Vanille doing this. It's sort of summon-like, but like...
Yeah, you got to, right?
Yeah.
Next one is, I think, just starter next up, besides Sonnen, because he was also revealed. 4 CP, EX Burst, 8k, Lightning Earth, back attack. You can remove 1 Earth backup and 1 Lightning backup you control from the game instead of paying the CP cost to cast him. EX Burst, when he enters the field, choose one forward and up to 1 other forward. Until the end of turn, the former gains 5k and the latter loses 5k. This is a cool card.
Mm-hmm.
This is where I stand with it. Next one is Billy Bob. I think Sonnen's really cool. In an Earth Lightning deck. And there's an Earth Lightning X deck that exists, and it removes, which is cool, so it feels. Next one's Billy Bob. Avalanche Operative. I don't like that he's lightning, but whatever. When he enters the field, choose a forward other than card named Billy Bob in your break zone, add it to your hand. He's cool. He's a 3-drop 8k that grabs you a dude.
I don't know how you would ever, like, you'd have to play, like, old style, like your, old, Earth Lightning,
Turks deck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't, to really get, like, full advantage, it seems.
Is Onion Knight, who's a Warrior Light and Onion Knight. When it enters the field,
He's
select
real
one of
sick.
2 following actions, 3-drop 8k. Choose a forward, a damage forward, break it. Choose a forward the opponent controls, return to their hand. And then when Onion Knight's put from field to break zone, you can pay 1 when you do search for card name Onion Knight, play it onto the field. Pay 1 to play an Onion Knight. Gross.
Yep.
On an Onion Knight deck, I think it's really cool.
It's almost an instant add in my Onion Knight deck, which is really funny for me.
We've seen this one. 2 CP, 7k with haste. When she enters the field, choose
Yep.
for the opponent controls, dull it, draw a card. Nuts. That's it already. Pay a lightning, pay a water, remove a card named Lightning and a card named Odin in the break zone from the game. Play Lightning onto the field. You can only do this during your turn and if Lightning's in the break zone, which is super cool. She's also deserving of a legend. Next one is Lillicet, who's a common. You will definitely play the other one over this, but I think a 2-3 split's really nice. When she enters the field, choose a forward to cost 2 or less the opponent controls, put it in break zone. And then Sensual Dance, ooh, special, duller, all the forwards your opponent controls lose 4k power until end of turn.
Yeah, you just play it because you get to do cool same name things.
Yeah, and you can also pitch her to pay the cost, which is nice.
Yep.
Arciella, sick.
We got 2 Arciellas.
A 3-cost water fire. At the beginning of the attack phase during each of your turns, you may reveal any number of cards from your hand. When you reveal 3 or more fire cards, choose a forward 7k it. When you reveal 3 or more water cards, draw a card. If you reveal 3 or more of each element, both effects trigger.
Nice.
She's cool. Hands down.
I love this fucking art. Oh my god. It's so regal, right?
Next one is Jekt. I will never play this over the other one. Pay a water, pay an earth, or sorry, pay a water,
It
pay a
looks
fire.
cooler.
Until the end of turn, Jekt gains haste for strike brave. You can only use this ability during your turn, and then Jekt beam a special Dolan choose a forward 8k it.
No.
So water, fire.
You would never use it over the other one. But like he looks so much cooler.
I don't know. I like the other art better.
I like him all muscly and
I
like
think
half monster.
we're on to Furion, and then we have the legacies, and then we're good. So Furion is if you control 5 or more characters, he gains haste, and when he attacks, you draw a card. Nuts. Discard a card. If the discard card is a fire element, until the end of turn, he gains 2k power in first strike. If the discard card is of water, he gains 2k power, and you can activate him, which is super sick. And if you discard a fire water card, you get both effects.
Hey, it's a rebel.
More rebels in this set.
It doesn't
And
matter.
then we're on to the legends, which there's full arts, and then they just reprinted the other ones. So I want these full arts because they're fucking gorgeous. I love the art.
Oh, yes, they are.
3 CP Aerith, you get 4 CP Dark Sephiroth, and then you get 2 CP Cloud Pod, which is super sick. They're all
I want
great.
the Cloud Pod so bad.
And then our crystal for the set is just a crystal.
Looks like a water. It looks like water almost, maybe.
Maybe like a water earth. I don't know for sure.
And then you kind of get into the new stuff. So, do you remember when I said I was counting?
Yeah.
I want you to guess how many full arts are in this fucking set.
23.
No.
How many?
39.
39 full arts? Jesus Christ.
I think. I'll recount real quick if you want to start doing some closeout stuff. But
yeah, that's a lot.
1,
oh my
2,
god.
3,
Oh my god,
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15,
James, you counting
16,
out loud
17,
doesn't allow me to close.
18, 19, I know. 20,
You're terrible.
23,
Apple.
24, oh, I just got 25, 26, 27,
1,
28,
2,
29, yep.
3, 4, 29, okay.
29 unless you count the Noctis Arden and the Crystal.
Gross, Jesus Christ. Well,
Yeah.
Um,
Full arts. Not
I'm
even
excited.
like legends.
Dude, this set
full
looks
arts.
really fun. There's a lot of decks that get updated with the set, and a lot of different
There's actually there's a lot of sets that get like 1 or 2 cards. There's only 2 things that got a lot of support.
Which is
I guess
fine.
Avalanche. I'll count Avalanche.
Avalanche
So
got
3.
a whole new color dimension.
In my opinion, I was thinking 13 got a lot, and I think mannequins obviously.
Yeah, 13 and mannequins are the main ones that like got real support here.
Avalanche got like
got a little bit.
better, but like
Warp is gonna be really fun to see. The set comes out
Warp is
with
absolutely
December,
disgusting.
What is it? December.
Our thing's December 17th, so next week.
The week before, so next week it comes out. 6.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed.
Yep.
That's our wrap up for this, and
Make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe.
yep. Support us on Patreon if you care enough to. If not, it's whatever. I'm like,
It helps us get this done faster.
it does. It also just helps us buy cards so we can push out more content for the
I'll
channel.
let you know, I spent a lot of money on cards, and it's mostly out of pocket.
It is, yeah.
And when I say mostly out of pocket, I mean
all of it.
all out of pocket.
But yeah, guys, hope you enjoyed our little breakdown. We'll have a full VOD up, edited a bit for you and whatnot. Other than that, James?
Stay alert.